All right, we're live. Here we are. It's Sunday night at 7 o'clock. So what does that mean? It must be another 76 Capital Leadership Series. Really excited to be here. My name is Wayne Kimmel, Managing Partner at 76 Capital. And tonight we have two really special guests. We have the co-CEOs of Play-by-Play Sports Broadcasting Camps, Stephen Goldstein and Jeremy Treatman. Guys, welcome to the show.
What's happening, Wayne? How are you?
Doing great, doing great. So, Jeremy, are you good? You're good down there? All right, he's looking good. Everyone's looking good. Well, all right. So we got a great show tonight. Stephen, we're gonna have a really good time talking about all the things that are going on in the sports world, as well as really want to talk to you about what's been happening at play-by-play camps. And maybe before we get started, it'd be great for you to share with us your story. Tell me a little bit of your background prior to starting play-by-play camps, where you grew up, and all the different things that you've been involved with, and prior to getting going with play-by-play.
Sure. So I grew up in Elkins Park, PA, a suburb of Philadelphia. Went to Abington High School, go Ghosts, and after that went to Syracuse University. Ironically, did not go to the Newhouse School. I was a business major over at Syracuse. Graduated Syracuse, had no idea what I wanted to do in life, so I decided to get a master's degree in sports management over at Springfield College. And from there, I ended up getting an internship with the Philadelphia 76ers, doing statistics under the infamous Harvey. Wow. So that was a lot of fun. Got to sit at the scorer's table, keep stats during games. Unfortunately, at that time, it was the early 90s. The Sixers were not that good at that time. So from there, I ended up becoming a buyer for a sports apparel distributor out of Philadelphia, buying all kinds of NFL, NBA, Disney, Pocahontas, anything you name. I was buying the product. We were selling it all over the country. And from there, I started my own business back in 2000 with the internet boom. And that's kind of how this whole thing got started.
That's amazing Philly story. We love that. And, your partner in crime at play-by-play broadcasting camps from the beginning has been Jeremy Treatman. And Jeremy, I mean, what we were just really hearing from Stephen was his background, what he did prior to starting play-by-play camps. And, just for everybody who's joining right now, you're joining into our 76 Capital Leadership Series. It's Sunday at 7. We go Sundays at 7 and Wednesdays at 7. We go live on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And we're here with the two co-founders and co-CEOs of Play-by-Play Sports Broadcasting Camps, Stephen Goldstein and Jeremy Treatman. And Play-by-Play Sports Broadcasting Camps is really an amazing company that the two of them have built. And we just heard a little bit of background from Stephen. Jeremy, I'd love to hear a little background prior to starting play-by-play camps, what you were doing.
Well, sure. Well, I grew up in Lower Merion. I went to Friends Central School. I went to like 3 different colleges, WashU, St. Louis, and Penn. And then I went to journalism school at Temple. And I became a freelancer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, which I did for about 10 years. And then I wrote for tons of national sports magazines. I finally got into broadcasting by starting my own radio network. We were broadcasting high school and college games from about 1989 to 2001. My last actual job was in 1990. I was in Wildwood, New Jersey. I was their news director and did some sports. And the year before that, I was in a place you love very well, Delaware, WNRK in Newark. And I was doing all their news and sports. And since then, I've been on my own and doing a lot of basketball tournaments and a lot of writing. And then started the camps 2002.
And I know there's a little common tie between the two of you around basketball, and I think it's a little different. I hear that one of you can really ball and one of you can really coach. So maybe we could ask people like who's who, but anyway, I'll ask a question and we'll see who answers this one. So who coached Kobe?
I was an assistant coach for Kobe. 1995-96 season at Lower Merion. Clearly, Steve's the basketball player. He could have played at a collegiate level, where I was just a recreational player. But I also coached your son at Barrack Hebrew Academy. I was the head coach there for 4 years. I've been dabbling in coaching for about 15 years off and on, and I've given that up. But I was there for that magical 95-96 season with Kobe Bryant and the state champion Lower Merion Aces.
Jeremy, following up on that, what was it like? You spent a lot of time with Kobe when he was in high school at Lower Merion. You continued the relationship with him over the years, and then just his terrible, tragic death. It just must really be tough for you.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And I guess if coronavirus hadn't hit, the world would still be talking about it all the time. But for about 2 or 3 months, it's all anybody was talking about, and certainly it's all anybody was talking about with me. It did hit very hard, because when you know somebody really well from the ages of 12 and 22, the way I did with Kobe, he was a big part of my life, and I was a little bit part of his life, and I saw the journey, I saw the rise, I saw everything he told me was going to happen. I didn't get to continue that relationship as he got older and got married and had the 4 kids, and get into his late 30s and 40s in his new life. I didn't really know him once a year, twice a year in recent years. But you'll always have those special times, because even before I coached him, I was a family friend, and they really consulted with me with everything. And I did all his first media, TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, article. You look it up, I probably have my fingerprints all over it. We spent a lot of amazing time with Kobe in his formative years. So it's heartbreaking, and it's still heartbreaking.
And Steven, I just,
he can ball, by the way, Wayne. He can ball.
What?
He can ball.
Well, I hear that all over town. You go around Philly, and I tell people that I know Steven Goldstein, and they're like, "Well, is that the guy? This guy can play." So
not this guy. Maybe 20 years ago, a little bit. But Wayne, you had that turnaround jump shot in one of your social media posts. Don't sell yourself short. You look good. You had good form.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, coming from you, that does mean a lot. It does mean a lot. It truly, it really does. It's all about the follow through. You got to make sure you follow through. And I heard Jeremy saying that from the sidelines a few times. Well, what really the crux of what we really wanted to talk about tonight on our 76 Capital Leadership Series with the 2 co-CEOs of play-by-play sports broadcasting camps is really about the camps itself. And so how did you guys start to, how did this all come about? How did play-by-play camps get created?
Well, I guess I'll grab that one. I had a vision, in the late 1990s and going up to about 2002 of starting a little 3-day mini camp in the Philadelphia region, because I thought there'd be a lot of kids like me who knew they weren't going to be college or pro players, but who love sports. And I was in love with Harry Cowles, the Phillies announcer, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, be a broadcaster. And I thought there'd be a lot of kids that would want to do it. I had really no idea what I was doing or what we were doing when I was talking to Steve about the idea. And 71 kids rolled out, and the next year 124 kids rolled out, and Comcast was a partner with us at first. And I remember me and Steve talking, because we got to do this all over the country. This is amazing, this response. So I personally didn't really know it was going to grow into something this big. And I also didn't know the premise was also going to be about gaining kids self-confidence and self-esteem, not just for broadcasting, but for anything they do in life. And also the culture that we developed at Sports Broadcasting Camp. These kids have become friends for life. And, we got thousands and thousands of alums who stay together. They do everything together. They stay best friends. We have campers who are almost 38 years old. And, some of their best friends in life are people they met at camp 15, 16 years ago. So it's incredible.
It is amazing. And it's also interesting just, how you guys met. Steven, how did you guys eventually meet each other to even start this whole idea?
Well, if you ask Jeremy, he's going to tell you that we initially met on a basketball court. And somehow, I don't like using this word, but he says I was bullying him on the basketball court. And that was our first introduction. He said I elbowed him or something. But apparently we met on the basketball court. And then when I was telling you before, I started my own business back in 2000. I was doing different sports and entertainment related events. I happened to meet Jeremy at one of those events. We started talking, and Jeremy was looking for an office in the city at that time. And I happened to have space in my office. So Jeremy came in, and that's really when we got to know each other. We started talking, and that's when Jeremy came and said, hey, I have this idea of starting a sports broadcasting mini camp. Are you able to help put this together? And that's kind of where it all got started. And then, like he said, after those first 2 years doing it in Philadelphia, we said, hey, we got to go all over the country with this. And slowly but surely, every year from 2002, we added Boston, we added DC, we added Baltimore, and we just kept growing and growing to where we're at now in 11 cities across the country, and planning on growing more.
And that's incredible. I see in this picture here, I see you at Dodger Stadium on the field in your play-by-play shirt. So you also have a camp in LA as well, right?
Yes, we started LA. Jeremy, what's this? Our 14th year out in LA?
2009. Yeah, 2009 was the first summer.
So this will be our 11th summer or 12th summer out in LA. And that one right now is one of our biggest camps. So LA, I remember when we started LA, we were hovering at 40 kids for about 3 or 4 years. And we were looking at each other saying, this is LA. And all of a sudden, our 4th year, bam, we hit 80 kids, then we hit 100 kids, then we hit 125 kids. And now we sell that camp out every year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, why don't we take a quick step back? Again, we're live tonight on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube with our 76 Capital Leadership Series with Steve.
You're everywhere, Wayne Kimmel.
Well, look, that's why I'm putting you guys out there with us, because we're so excited at 76 Capital to be, investors and partners with you and Jeremy and your whole team at Play by Play Sports Broadcasting Network, and really want to just do whatever we can to help you, because I know there's a lot of exciting things that you want to share with us about this year, certainly because of what's happening with COVID-19 and some of your plans, as well as the things you've just been doing to really engage your overall community. But before we get to that, I'd love to sort of take a step back and share with everybody specifically what is sports broadcasting camps and what happens on a daily basis. And if you're a 10 to 18 year old that comes to camp, what is that like, and what happens when you walk into camp?
So Steve, you want to grab that one, and maybe I'll add a couple things.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot happens when you walk into camp. I mean, on day one, if you're a shy camper and the parent says, oh, my kid, we got to get him out of his shell. By day 2 of camp, he's the first one running to the front of the room to give a report on last night's game. What we do at camp, we talk sports. Every kid who comes to our camp, they know every player, every team, every stat, and we put them on camera and they argue sports all week. We teach them all aspects of sports broadcasting, from reporting to hosting shows, to anchoring, to play-by-play, to sports talk radio, and we go to games, we go to live games. The kids do play-by-play from their seats at a Major League Baseball game or a minor league baseball game. They have the kids that stay overnight just have an amazing overnight experience with kids just like them. And I can't emphasize enough that these kids who come to camp, they just all share one passion. Whether they can play sports or they can't play sports, they all just bond because they love talking sports. So when a camper comes in on Sunday night to overnight camp or Monday morning and they're wearing a Yankees hat and they're in Boston, immediately the Boston kid's like, you're a Yankees fan? Oh, boo. And the camaraderie right there starts, and it doesn't end till Friday afternoon.
That's amazing. I mean, and to build on that a little bit, one of the things you've shared with us, real quick, Jeremy, is that even if you're someone that's, as you just said, someone from New York will go to the Boston camp, people will travel all across the country to your respective camps.
Oh yeah, we're picking up kids at the airport across country. In our LA camp, we have kids flying in from New York. In our New York camp, we have kids flying in from the Midwest, from the West Coast, from Seattle. We're everywhere. Kids are coming from everywhere.
Now, why would they do that? Is there a different experience, than say the New York camp versus your Boston camp and your LA camp and your Dallas camp? Like, what happens differently in those different camps, in those different locations?
Nothing. I mean, outside of, the celebrities are the camp week is pretty much the same everywhere. The differences are the venues that we visit, obviously, are city specific, and then the celebrities that come to camp are city specific. So we do have a lot of kids that live in Florida now and go to the Boca camp, but they also go to the Jersey camp because they're Giants fans or they're Jets fans and they want to talk about New Jersey sports. So they'll go from Florida to Jersey because they want to talk Jersey sports.
But you'll also get an opportunity. Say if you go to the LA camp, you'll go to Dodger Stadium. If you go to the camp down in Dallas, you may go to the Cowboys facility. Right? So that's
absolutely. Fenway Park, we've done the Link, we've done Citizens Bank Park. We've hit we go to every stadium. Every year we try and switch it up. So, because we get a lot of repeat campers, Wayne. So for the repeat campers, we try and go to a different venue, bring in different celebrities in each city. And that's also why kids try different cities as well. They may come to the Dallas camp for 3 or 4 years and then say, hey, now I want to try a different city and meet new kids. So there's a lot of different reasons why kids will choose different cities.
And Jeremy, what are some of when you talk about doing play-by-play, what are the sports that you typically work with the kids on, and what do they do play-by-play on, and what do they do the different shows that you, what sports do you typically focus on?
Well, we allow the kids to do the shows when they get to do their shows in front of the camera and what they want on, but I would say it hasn't changed that much since 2002. Baseball, football, basketball are the three most dominant. Some kids like to talk about hockey. Soccer has definitely grown. Some kids like to talk about esports, which I know you're an expert on and have encouraged us to add to our program, and we've been doing that. But those are the main ones. But if somebody wants to do a show on tennis and Venus Williams, they get their choice. And you find the golfing fans at camp will find the golfing fans. The tennis people like tennis will find tennis. The soccer people, they know right away because they're probably wearing some kind of soccer jersey, whether it's international or American. And they find each other and they bond. And it's kind of like that. So I would say that those were the main sports.
Got it. And I know at a number of your camps that you guys do, you have celebrities that come in, whether they're broadcasters or athletes. As you can see the picture here that's on the screen, maybe talk about what happens when the broadcasters come in. I see two recognizable faces. You guys maybe want to talk about what happens when the athletes and the broadcasters show up.
So when the celebrities come to camp, the kids basically have their own sports talk radio show with these celebrities. We have a celebrity and we have 80, 100 kids who have a Q&A with the celebrity. The celebrities talk about how they got into the business, what it's like in the business, and then the kids just ask questions, especially athletes as well. At every camp, we try and have a press conference where the kids are the reporters asking the questions with an NFL player or an NBA player. As you see, I think Ryan Arcidiacono, who plays for the Bulls right now, came to our Chicago camp. And, the kids got to talk to Ryan, ask him all about, he was part of the national championship team at Villanova, passing to Chris Jenkins, who Jeremy got to come to our Philadelphia camp, who hit the game-winning shot. So, that's the kids get to meet these guys and hang out with them for an hour at camp. And it's a pretty awesome experience for them.
That's incredible. And Jeremy, and tell us about the other guy that's in that picture.
Yeah, we were really excited to get Scott Hanson last year. Now, Scott Hanson's a big-time star. He might have one of the best jobs in sports right now, hosting the Red Zone football. And on Sundays, he's on for 8 straight hours without a bathroom break. And he's got a pretty remarkable story, remarkable job. But he actually went to our Baltimore camp in 2004. He started out in Philadelphia Comcast Sportsnet. and I had met him briefly there. And
Wait, let me stop you.
Yeah, sure.
Say that again. Scott Hanson went to your camp.
No, didn't go to the camp. I'm sorry. He was a speaker at camp in 2004.
2004 when he was working for.
Yeah, he was working for Comcast Sports. He was just starting out with Comcast Sports, and then he went to Comcast Mid-Atlantic, the Baltimore, Washington region. Sorry if I misspoke there, but but he was very young and just getting started.
No, but we'll start getting into the alums, because I know you have amazing alums as well. So yep. I wasn't sure if didn't realize that Scott was an alum, but that's amazing. So Scott did a camp. He came and spoke to the kids in Baltimore, and then is now doing helping you out in LA as part of his NFL network.
That's right, and we find that the speakers, for the most part, are incredibly generous with their time, and it's a lot easier to get them to come to camp than you'd expect. And we've had lots of big names that literally I didn't know, or Steve didn't know, Michelle Beadle or Tracy Epstein, Tracy Wolfson, somebody we just contact, and they're like, sure, when is it? Where is it? We got people who will do anything for us, like Kenny Albert. I mean, I can't say enough great things about Kenny Albert, who's the only play-by-play announcer in all 4 major sports in the country right now, and he's been at every New Jersey camp for, I think, the last 15 years. And one thing we encourage our campers to do is to stay in touch with these broadcasters. They give out their email, and a lot of them shadow these people. A lot of them stay in touch with them. A lot of them send them their reel. A lot of them have really been helped by some of these speakers. Eric Reed, who's down here in Miami. I'm in Florida right now. He's the Miami Heat announcer. He's got 3 championship rings announcing the Heat. He's been there since their infancy. He stays in touch with a lot of the FAU kids who've gone to the camp in Boca, and he's helped. And I mean, that's an amazing part of networking, which is a major part of the camp as well.
Yeah, and Wayne, just to add on what Jeremy just said, this past summer, Jim Jackson was telling me, the Flyers and Phillies play-by-play announcer, he said to me, he mentioned one of our former campers has been emailing him, and he got him into the booth during a Flyers game to shadow him, and the camper literally sat next to Jim Jackson, watched him do play-by-play for a Flyers game. So it's pretty awesome.
That's incredible. And the campers grow up, right? They do grow up, and I'd love to hear some of the stories of some of the alums. It's a number of the kids that have gone to the camp over the years who are now stars in sports broadcasting.
All right, I'll grab at this one first, and Steve can add, because the list is so long. But somebody you know pretty well, Adam Lefko, who went to the very first Philadelphia camp in 2002. I actually bumped into him in Louisville in the early 2010s. I didn't even know he was on ABC there and doing sports. And he made this crazy tape that went viral, and he got hired by the Bleacher Report as one of their first national reporters in New York City. And he's still doing that, but he landed this amazing gig on TNT that he only got to do 2 weeks of because of the coronavirus and the NBA season being stopped for right now. But he's hosting Thursday nights with Shaq and Dwayne Wade and Ernie Johnson and people like that. So it's incredible. Scott Braun's on the MLB network and the NHL network. Courtney Cronin and Sarah Barshop are 2 female reporters for ESPN who are covering NFL teams. Brandon Liebhaber is a AAA baseball announcer out in Texas. And then there's lots of people who have their first, second jobs who are doing very well as regular sportscasters in a more mainstream, conventional sports business. I'd say there's about 4 dozen of those. And Steve, I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of people, but there's a lot. I mean, there's dozens and dozens of people who've really done well in this field.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of campers or former campers right now that I know. Clayton Collier's in Memphis, Jeremy. He's on air in Memphis as a sports reporter. Maury Hirschgordon, who came to our camp for years, is in Providence as a sports reporter. I mean, he's covering the Celtics. He's covering the Patriots. He's been to Super Bowls and NBA playoffs. And we have so many former campers like that are really at that second stage, ready to hit the big time in the next 5 to 10 years.
And Wayne, if I could just add one point to that. Sure. Most of our counselors at camp are actually former campers. I'd say 85%. And we're now at the point now where some of our special guest speakers at these camps are these former campers who are alums in the business, and they come back and give back by coming to camp. I mean, we usually have one at every camp in every city, so that's pretty awesome.
That is amazing to hear. And then, once the campers leave you, when they graduate high school, they go on, and many of them have gone on to some of the best broadcasting and sportscasting schools in the country.
Yeah, we have a lot of kids at Syracuse University, Newhouse School. We have a lot of kids at Arizona State, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. Marquette University is one that, and Missouri, that we have a good amount there. And going back to the networking aspect of it, I remember we had a camper who came to our camp for years and went to Marquette University and ended up coming to one of our camps, networking with a camper, and that camper ended up going to Marquette because of that counselor. So it's really interesting, the relationship between our former campers and current campers with what happens.
And that's incredible. And I know you also give the young boys and girls that go to play-by-play sports broadcasting camps, you give them opportunities even during the year to have an opportunity to, like, as an example here, we see, some of your former or current, I should say, campers who are interviewing some of the top players in college football.
Yeah, this was at the Maxwell Awards beginning of March, and Chase Young was there. This was, a month before he was the number 2 pick in the draft. And we had 3 campers down there interviewing Chase Young. John Harbaugh was there. Jeremy, who else was there? Brian Westbrook was there. Ron Jaworski.
High school player of the year. There was a couple of top NFL players as well, I believe.
So all those kids had a chance to interview all these coaches and soon-to-be NFL players and former NFL players, and it was a pretty awesome experience for them.
Yeah, and you got the opportunity. You gave this amazing opportunity for them to really be out there in the field with all the experts, and and be right next to other broadcasters. It was pretty impressive to see.
Yeah, it's the kids love that, and even in January we did a mini camp over at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, and the kids got to meet Jake Fromm, who was drafted. I don't know who he went to. Atlanta. Who did he go to? Well, he was the Georgia Bulldogs quarterback. Yeah, we got drafted in the 4th round. They met Justin Herbert, who went to San Diego, LA Chargers now, and there was one other. Oh, the Michigan quarterback was also there. I'm blanking on his name. Shea Patterson. So they got to meet all those quarterbacks, got to interview them, got to take a picture with them. So again, it was a great experience for them.
They also met Kirk Herbstreit at that event, and we also had a father-son weekend. It was pretty close to that, wasn't it, Steve? That was end of January, and Hollis Thomas, formerly the Eagles, was there. Barrett Brooks, formerly the Eagles, and Mike Lombardo. Who is a national sports insider, Mike Lombardi, and that was phenomenal as well. So great opportunities to meet a lot of famous people in this field, both players, coaches, and athletes, and broadcasters.
It's really exciting to have the co-CEOs of sports play-by-play sports broadcasting camp, Stephen Goldstein and Jeremy Treatman, on our 76 Capital Leadership Series, as we do every Sunday night at 7 and every Wednesday at 7. We're live on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and it's great to be able to share what you do at 76, along what we do with you, as partners of yours at 76 Capital, along with your play-by-play camps. And I know that one of the things that you've been doing during this time of the whole pandemic that we're living through right now is you've been really engaging with your campers. And your former campers and your counselors. Share with us a couple of things that you've been doing and what you're going to be doing online during this time right now.
Sure. So yeah, when the pandemic hit, we actually had a conversation with you, Wayne, and your team over at 76. And we decided, you mentioned this whole virtual thing, and Jeremy and I were like, virtual? Wait, for 19 years we've been in person. What's this virtual thing? What's Zoom? I didn't know what Zoom was. So we started using Zoom, and it's opened my eyes to a whole new world. So once or twice a week, we're doing different activities that we would do at camp. We're trying them out on Zoom, and we've been doing sports shows. We've been doing different trivia games that we do at camp to engage the kids. Jeremy did sports categories with them 2 weeks ago. And I mean, that went for an hour and a half. I mean, the kids didn't want to stop. So everything we do at camp, we can do online. And that's what we've been doing. So the parents have been thanking us. They've been saying, oh my God, my kid has had nothing to look forward to all day. He can't wait for your Zooms. So it's actually nice to hear that the kids are enjoying and making the best out of a situation which is going on right now.
That's awesome to hear, and I know that one of your employees, Jenna, has been really involved with this, along with James, who's our chief of staff at 76 Capital. They've been talking back and forth and coming up with lots of ideas, and I want to give them a lot of credit for helping all of us during this time. And it really has been amazing to see the level of engagement. I mean, your young people don't want to get off. They want to stay like on the stream with you for hours. They would.
Just Wayne, real quick, when you said helping us, are you saying the young people helping us old people? Is that where you were getting at with that?
Well, they are in their 20s. So, I mean, we used to be in our 20s like a few minutes ago, but it's...
Yeah, Jenna has been, our director of digital marketing, has done an amazing job for us, not only on social media, but during our Zoom session. She's really been the one leading it and getting the word out. And James has been helping tremendously from 76 Capital's team. And we really appreciate James's help and everyone's help at 76 Capital. So yes, and we're all learning during this, and it's a learning process for all of us. But like you said, the kids, they're engaged. And why are they engaged? Because they're talking sports, and they love talking sports. And when they come to our camp or they come to our virtual sessions, they are talking sports with 30, 40, 50, 60 other kids that are just like them. And, whether it's in person or virtual, that's the experience that we provide.
It's really amazing what you're able to provide. And I know that one of the things that you wanted me to allow you to share tonight was some of your plans for the summer. Typically you're crisscrossing the country. You guys pack your bags and don't come home typically till August. But during this time, it's going to be a little different. And love to hear what some of the plans are.
It's funny. I mean, today is, I lose track of days already, but today's Sunday. Next week, we were heading to Dallas. I mean, that was our first camp that was scheduled, was Dallas. Obviously, that's not happening next week. Hopefully it'll happen later in the summer. But yeah, if you would have told me on May 24th that we have no idea what our plans are for the most part for in-person camps, I'd say, Wayne, you're crazy. What do you mean? But we, for in-person camps right now, we're still waiting it out to see what happens. But we are excited for our virtual camp. So last Monday, it's only been 6 days since we announced we're doing a 3-week virtual program, June 29th to July 17th. Limiting it to 150 campers right now. And we're in 6 days, we're almost sold out of that 3-week virtual camp. We can take another 30 campers. And we plan on providing the same experience that we do at camp, but virtually. So, Jeremy at camp teaches everything we spoke about earlier: how to do a sports talk radio show, how to do a sideline report, how to do a rant, how to read over highlights, how to do play-by-play. And we're going to do that during these virtual sessions. Jeremy's going to put together videos and presentations on how to do these things. And then we're going to go in the breakout rooms so that there's not 150 kids in a room. We're going to be in 30 different breakout rooms. We're going to have our staff in all of the breakout rooms and teaching kids in a smaller group how to do all this. And then they're going to perform for everyone. So it's we're excited about it. It's not what we thought this summer was going to be, but reality is hit, and we're ready to go.
And I know, I mean, even in this, I love this picture of, I'm not sure which camp this was from. I see one of the girls has a Cleveland Browns shirt on. One has looks like an Anaheim or now Los Angeles Angels hat. So, you never know where this could be from, but I mean, that experience that you had, that young people had in camp was amazing, but you're now seeing the power of digital, the power of being able to do this online, and it's really exciting to see. And I love the fact that you're not only just doing the calls, but you're engaging each and every one of the kids who's so passionate about sports, and hopefully they'll get an opportunity to be a broadcaster as well.
Well, that is the hope. I mean, we definitely want to introduce them to every skill set and every nuance there is in the sports broadcasting industry. Let them meet as many people in the broadcasting world, the athlete world, and see what it's really like to be a sports communications person. And let them decide for themselves if they want to pursue it, and certainly encouraging. We're all about encouraging. We're all about making dreams happen. And that's what, we're very proud of the fact that hundreds of people are actually not just went to camp for fun. They actually have tried to make it a career and really go on. The picture you were referencing to, those were 3 young ladies who were in our Los Angeles camp. And it is funny, the young girl who's from Ohio, she wears all her Ohio gear, but she came to the Los Angeles camp. I think she ended up living out there. But yeah, we certainly, both Steve and I have written hundreds of recommendations for colleges and for jobs, and we stay in touch with all these kids. And we probably don't have enough spots for all the people who want to be counselors in the virtual camps this summer. I mean, it's just as popular for alums as it is for the campers.
Yeah, it's funny. The counselors, they want to come back to camp. They miss their sports broadcasting camp days. Now they come back and they can get paid to do it. So they love it. One more interesting thing about that picture you just showed of the 3 girls is that the girl in the middle is from Ohio, as Jeremy mentioned. The girl that was on the left, Hannah, was from Canada, and the other girl was from Los Angeles. So they became 3 great friends throughout that week, from Canada, from LA, and from Ohio. So that's what we're all about right there. That picture right there says it all.
That's awesome. It's so great to hear. I know when we talk about this, and I'm always pushing you on what's happening behind the scenes and what's happening with the new technology, and let's get some VR and AR, and let's start to talk about esports and pushing. We're always kind of starting to think about all these things, but the one thing that I always hear from both of you is what you just referenced, these lasting friendships and relationships that occur at your camps, and also the level of I guess how much confidence you're able to instill in these young people who, whether they go on to be broadcasters or whether they go on to go do something else in life, you've given them an opportunity to really be able to stand up and speak and defend their position and just enjoy this public speaking. And I think that's a really big thing that you guys do.
Yeah, well, thanks for the kind words about that, Wayne, because that's something in 2002, 2003, 2004, I didn't consciously think of. Maybe subconsciously I did, because I was a late bloomer who I didn't get a start into TV till I was 28, and I didn't get things going until my 30s. And I wanted all these kids to have a chance, at least an opportunity, to go for what they wanted to do at 16, 17, 18, into college, into internships, and get a much better head start. And the young girl that Steve was just referencing to, Hannah, the girl from Canada, that's a perfect example, because she came to camp the first year. She would actually try to get out of doing the shows. She felt she wasn't confident enough to do stuff. and she was afraid to speak her mind, even though we encouraged her. And you can't do anything wrong at our sports broadcasting camps. By the second year, when she came back last year, she was all over those shows, right, Steve? She was making points and she was jumping into PTI. I was like, Hannah, all right, you definitely got the point of what camp was about. And I'm glad you found your voice and found your confidence. I think secretly this camp is self-esteem camp as much as it is sports broadcasting camp. So I really thank you for bringing up that point, because that's very important to us.
Absolutely. Again, we're really so happy to have Stephen Goldstein and Jeremy Treatman on our 76 Capital Leadership Series, talking about their play-by-play sports broadcasting camps. It's great to have both of you on. And, going back to that point, Jeremy, you mentioned something. You said PTI. Now, I know that's one of the highlights of camp for so many of the kids, because they get to be Tony Kornheiser or Michael Wilbon, and they get to argue and defend their points on sports. And talk about how that works, either of you. I'd love to hear, what's PTI like? What's PTI day like at camp?
You want me to go?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, PTI, that's one of my babies at the camp, because I've been running the PTI camp contest since 2002, although we're all involved in it. And when we do our mock PTI, Steve's a great moderator, and he usually has me versus Neil Hartman, or me versus Adam Bach, or me versus one of the counselors. There's 3 roles in that. The moderator controls the show, and then there's 2 people arguing, and we want them to convey their opinions on something. So if I throw something out, who's the GOAT? LeBron versus Jordan. I mean, all you have to do is hold up the microphone. They're going to go for a half an hour. You have to cut them off at 5 minutes. These kids just love arguing these points, and I think it's so important to be able to debate and to be able to convey your opinions and to not back down. And somebody will come back with a point, and I'll encourage them, and I'll tell them why they're wrong. And then I'll say, and I'll tell them why you think he's wrong. And then we'll go to the next topic, and then the next topic. And then they make their own topics, and they do that on camera as one of our stations for the show. So we have the contest in person, usually with me or another counselor, and then we have the PTI station on camera, which is always fun. And the kids, I really encourage that too, as Steve, because they get to choose the topics they want. But I think PTI is so fun. I mean, there's a reason why Kornheiser and Wilbon have been doing it for so long. There's a reason why everybody likes Stephen A. Smith. There's a reason why people love to hate Shannon Sharp or love to love him. Or the guy from Texas, Skip Bayless. I mean, these shows are popular. The ESPN has built a whole model of television shows based on sports arguing. So we have to incorporate sports arguing as part of the camp, because it's really, I mean, people are hired to sports argue and to share their opinions and to be belligerent about their opinions or to be nice about them, as long as they present themselves in a good, positive, constructive way. I think it's a great growing tool for all these campers.
Wayne, if you want right now, I can host. You and Jeremy can battle it out. We can give a quick example right now.
Let's go. What do we got? What's the topic, Stephen? Let's go. What do you got?
Welcome to Play-by-Play Sports Broadcasting Camp. I'm Stephen, along with Wayne and Jeremy, and it is PTI time. So the first topic, fellas, if the NBA season starts again in July, who is going to win the NBA title? Wayne.
Well, I don't think there's it's obvious. It's going to be the Lakers and LeBron. He's going to take that whole team, put them on his back, and they're going to win the whole thing. I don't even think they'll lose a game. They're that good. And I don't think anyone else has a chance.
Jeremy.
So Wayne, I'm disappointed and happy that you said that, but it brings out a good point here, because I 100% agree with you. So PTI is a lot more fun when you disagree. But I personally think LeBron James has so much chip on his shoulder and so much to prove, especially after the Michael Jordan series just landed on ESPN, that if this season never resumes, that I believe the Lakers are going to win, and I think they'll win easily. I really do. Now, for the sake of PTI, I'm going to go the other way. This is what I would encourage. See, I'll encourage.
What just happened here? What just happened here?
Well, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm going to go with Milwaukee. I'm going to go with Milwaukee. I'm going to say the Greek Freak's going to be unstoppable. Chris Middleton's unstoppable. They got the deepest bench outside of the LA Clippers, but I think the Lakers will beat the Clippers. But I think right now, with all the time off, all the veterans for the Lakers are going to struggle, and I think the young Bucks, no pun intended, are going to win it all. So my pick's going to be Milwaukee.
All right, you just said the Bucks, Jeremy. Tom Brady going to the Bucks. Will Tampa Bay get to the Super Bowl this year?
I'll take this one first and say absolutely not. I don't think Tom Brady's got much left in the tank. If he did, Bill Belichick would have let him throw the ball in 4th and 3 and 4th and 10 in a playoff game, the most important game of his career, of his most recent career. I still don't understand it. But if Bill Belichick's not trusting the greatest quarterback of all time last year, what's he going to do at age 43 for Tampa Bay? I think Tampa Bay's a 9-7 team.
All right, Wayne, hop in there, Wayne. Hop in there, Wayne.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, the Bucks are not going to win. It's not their year. And look, I think it's going to be a really special year for the Eagles again. The Eagles, this will be Carson Wentz's season where he will go the whole season. He will be healthy the whole year. And I just think that they have an opportunity to really do some special things, and with him at the helm and win the whole Super Bowl again for the city of Philadelphia. It would really be special in the middle of all this stuff that's going on. That's the team that I think I would go with.
We're out of time, guys. It's back to the Wayne Kimmel Show.
That was great. That was fabulous. And I got it. Quite frankly, I now see how much fun the kids must have. I mean, it's really a great, great experience. And again, we're here on the 76 Capital Leadership Series with Stephen Goldstein and Jeremy Treatman, the co-CEOs of Play-by-Play Sports Broadcasting Camps. The camp, if your kid likes sports, if your kid is interested in potentially being a broadcaster, if your kid just wants to talk sports and knows everything about sports, this is the place to go, because this is the camp where this is all you do. You just talk sports all day. And I think it's really amazing what the two of you have done with the camp. And I'd love to, ask you, Stephen, from the beginning of time when you started Play-by-Play to now, right? What are a couple things that are the biggest things that have changed? Whether it's about the camp, whether it's technology, the kids, what's the thing that you think has changed the most since you've started?
There's so much. The biggest thing is social media. That's a game changer. We had to hire a director of digital marketing because of that. And, you brought that to our attention when we started working together. And Jeremy and I looked at you like, Wayne, wait, what? We have to add someone to this team? What are you talking about? And honestly, it was one of the greatest decisions we ever made. So I think social media has been a game changer over the past 2 to 3 years. It's revolutionized everything from advertising to what you can do online. And I think that's probably been the biggest change since we first started.
Jeremy, what do you think? Same question. What's been the biggest change for you?
This is your toughest question yet. I started thinking, as soon as you asked it, I started thinking about equipment, because when we started, I remember supplying like 75 staples, $25 micro cassettes for the kids to record themselves doing things. And now these kids walk in with contraptions that I've never personally even seen before, and I got to look it up. And I'm the idiot running the camp, and I'm trying to learn what the equipment is. So that was the first thing that came to mind. Social media absolutely would be number one. But in some regards, the camp hasn't changed. The premise of the camp and the vibe of the camp has not changed, and that's what's so great. Like the experience has been wonderful from day one, and it's still wonderful. There's a lot of nuances that are changing. Technology is changing. I don't think the kids have changed that much. I don't think we've changed all that much. But it's the world's changed. So I think it's kind of interesting that we've kept our principles and we've kept the values of the camp together while our surroundings have changed a little bit. I don't know if I put that the right way, but that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, it's actually been nice. You brought up tape recorders. We used to run around to about 5 different Staples, buying them out of everything, cassette recorders. We're like, Jeremy, they don't have this tape recorder. We would buy tape recorders every year. And a funny story, we were going through Chicago's O'Hare Airport, and it was Adam Bach, one of the guys who ran some camps for us. He had a bag of every cassette recorders. We get to the TSA, and the guy's like, "What's in this bag?" And he goes, "They're tape recorders." And the TSA agent goes, "Tape recorders? You got to take them out." we had 70 tape recorders. He made us dump the whole bag of tape recorders. So yeah, that's been one of the biggest changes, is we don't have to carry around tape recorders anymore.
It's amazing, right? I mean, and so each one of your students, they show up with a phone or another type of recording device, and it's incredible to see. So what do you when you sort of look into your crystal ball as guys who have been in the sports play-by-play, overall broadcasting world, what do you think are sort of some of the next things? Like, what's the future of broadcasting look like from your perspective?
Jeremy, you want to take this?
Sure. Future of broadcasting or future of sports broadcasting camps?
I would say let's start the future of broadcasting first, and then we'll go to camps.
Steve, you want to take this? No, I got it. I mean, I think it's a lot of the things you've been teaching us that we've learned from 76 Capital, which is the esports, the gaming. As I'm reacquainting, all my nieces and nephews got older, and they were not in the NBA 2K phase and the Xbox phase, but a lot of these young kids I've been talking to recently, they are experts in all this stuff, and I think the sports world's going to be incorporating all that. Wayne, you told us 3 years ago that stadiums are going to be full of watching people playing these games, and people are going to make a lot of money. I was with you in Florida, and you point me to a kid who made $3 million playing Fortnite, and my jaw dropped, because this is eye-opening. I mean, you taught me this. I mean, your group taught me this, and I think we are going to go, I'd say 25 to 30%, including this world, and it's a world that you're involved in, and it's a world that we're getting involved in as well. But I do think the basic sports are not going to change. I mean, look how much right now everybody is thirsting for football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, World Cup, Olympics to come back. I think the mainstream sports that we've all loved for the last 150 years are not going to change. But I think there's going to be all these additional things through social media and through esports that are going to be added. In terms of our own camps, I mean, we've told you from day one, and me and Steve have talked from day one, is we want to expand, and we want to be in more and more cities. Now, some of our plans got foiled this year, just like every business's plans got foiled with what's happened with this pandemic. But, I believe we're going to be in, 6 to 10 more cities by next year. And, we could be in so many more cities. We could double, triple, quadruple, while keeping the same quality product. That's the whole key. And we also want to make a big national network, an SBC play-by-play sports broadcasting camp network, where kids are doing things all year round. And boy, has this opened our eyes with the virtual and with the Zoom that we're doing now. We realize this doesn't have to stop at the end of the summer. We could get this going in the fall, and there's all kinds of opportunities. And we could have a speaker series, and we could have a teaching series once a month, bring in a Kenny Albert to teach play-by-play. So, I don't have all the answers right now, but man, we're learning and we're expanding very quickly, and I think we're in a great spot.
Yeah, I think Jeremy hit it there. I think digitally, a digital platform with being a broadcaster and our sports broadcasting camp is a lot of the future. I mean, a lot of people aren't going on their TV set now to watch these PTI and other things. They're going on social media and seeing everything right there. I mean, every single broadcaster now is on social media, practicing, broadcasting, tweeting everything. I mean, it's really changed the world. And I think with our camps, we're going to be creating a lot of different digital platforms for kids to take advantage of starting this year.
Well, I'm sure, 10 years ago, you didn't think you were going to have a Facebook station, and you were going to talk about Instagram, and you were talking about Snapchat, and you didn't expect that to happen, right?
It's crazy. Like I said, I never heard of Zoom until 2 months ago. It's crazy.
Well, it's really great how you've been able to integrate it, how you've really been able to stay, with your ear to the ground. And as Jeremy, you said how you've been able to really, keep the core philosophy of play-by-play alive throughout the whole continuum of all the years and everything that you do. I think that's really impressive, and that's something that I'm excited that came out, and we talked about that tonight on our 76 Capital Leadership Series, because that's one of the things that we love to discuss on this leadership series is this idea of being, what it really takes to be a leader, what it really takes to be successful in life and in business. And I think, and I know that, the young people that get an opportunity to go to play-by-play sports broadcasting camps get those experiences from both of you and all the counselors and everything that you do. I'd love to hear, a little bit. I mean, we did our PTI thing, but I'd also love to hear a little bit of Jeremy, the first day at camp. What do you tell the kids on that first day? What do you do when you're starting off a camp?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to year 20 of Sports Broadcasting Camp. Welcome to Villanova. We're so happy to see all of you here. We are so excited to have another camp year. First of all, how many returners we got here? Oh, wow, Steve, it looks like we got about 68 returners out of about 125. How many new people here? All right, give these guys a hand. How many people have been here 5 or more years? Okay, well, I got my list here, and then I'll call out a few of the names. I want to give a special shout out to some of these people who've been here a long time. Our co-MC this week is Neil Harbin. Neil, come on over. All right, Neil comes on over. We give Neil a nice shout out, and then we introduce all the counselors. In the big camps, I'll probably have a couple kids come up and talk, and then Jenna has set up a program that I've worked with her where we show a success camper video. We show all these people working in the field. And wow, you really put me on the spot with that one because we're making a new one for virtual.
One of the things that we really try and do that first day is get all the kids to meet each other. So we have these icebreakers where we can get these kids in the groups and they just start talking with each other. And that's one of the keys to camp is to set the tone right from the start. In that first hour, after Jeremy gives his introduction and introduces everybody, we get these kids immediately into groups by age, and they can start mingling with each other. What team do you like? What players do you like? Who's going to win the championship? And those kids who were nervous by walking into camp and they didn't want their parent to leave and the parent didn't want to leave them, we now can't get them, to go home at the end of the day because they just met 40 other kids that were like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. So that's one of the keys that we do in that first hour at camp.
That's amazing. And then some of the kids, the kids that are signed up for day camp, they want to stay overnight with the rest of the kids. So that's pretty incredible that you're able to do this with the kids. And I think it's really awesome. And I'm so happy that you were able to join us on our 76 Capital Leadership Series. Jeremy, you were foreshadowing a little bit to one of our guests coming up. I wanted to just let everyone know, of course, we go live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on YouTube every Wednesday at 7 and every Sunday at 7. And this Wednesday coming up, we have a really special guest. Her name is Joanne Pasternak. And if you don't know her name, you certainly know the things that she's been involved with in the nonprofit world within sports. She works with some of the biggest names that have played for the San Francisco 49ers, for the Golden State Warriors. And if you mention any player on any of those teams, you mention Joanne to any of them, whether it's KD, whether it's Steph, whether it's Jerry Rice, they all know Joanne. And Joanne's going to give us a really unique perspective on what she does from a nonprofit side of the world in sports. And then next Sunday, the two of you will know the two people we're having on. We're having one of your guys. We're having Neil Hartman come on, along with his TV wife, Leslie Goodell. And we're going to have the two of them on talking about what it was like being the king and queen of sports in Philadelphia for many, many years. And, if you watch Philly sports and all those years with the Phillies doing well and Sixers and Flyers and Eagles, they covered it all. And they'll be talking about their experiences working at Comcast Sportsnet over all those years and all the different stories and players and people they were involved with. And I know that both of them are great friends of yours and great friends of the overall play-by-play sports broadcasting camps. So tonight, again, want to thank both of you for coming onto the show. It's amazing to have you. Everyone can go out to playbyplaycamps.com to find out more about your camps, your virtual camps, everything that happens during the week. You can reach out directly to Stephen and Jeremy as well. Their information is there for you to reach on their website. Again, playbyplaycamps.com. And again, thanks, guys. And again, for a 76 Capital Leadership Series, thank you so much for coming out. And we will see you on Wednesday at 7.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.